Hello everyone, I would like to talk to you about the continuous aspect in the English language in this short explanation video. As you already know, there are three aspects in English: simple aspect, continuous aspect, and perfect aspect. Simple aspect: I ate a cookie today. Continuous aspect: I am explaining something to you. And perfect aspect: I have been to Paris before. Let's focus on a continuous aspect in particular. When you use continuous aspect in English, you focus on duration between the start and the finish of an action. You don't know what happened in between. You just know, and you just pay attention to this duration. And you know that this duration is expressed by the ing form of the verb. This continuous action is never permanent. For example, I am talking right now. That means that now is happening at the moment. But I don't know if I will be talking in 10 minutes, and we also don't know if I were talking before. So it's about now. Um, and as logically as you understand, this action is also temporary, means that it's going to change sometime. You never know. You don't have that information and you don't need that information. Let's take a look at the example. She is probably working right now, continuous aspect in here. So we don't know if she worked before, and we don't know if she's going to work after now, however now is long. I was reading a book at 10 p.m. last night. The only thing we know about the sentence is that I, or the person, was having an action in progress, was reading at 10 o'clock or 10 p.m. last night. We don't know what happened at 10:15. We don't know what happened at 9:55 for that matter. I will be traveling around the world next year. So the only thing we know is that that person will be doing some action next year. Not today, not tomorrow, but next year. Today we have October, so probably in October next year I will be traveling. It's an unlikely situation for me, but that is what the sentence is expressing. My students have been studying very hard. So ing expresses continuous aspect. That means that they had a process up until the moment of speaking where they were doing really hard the studying process. But are they doing it now? We don't know. Let's move on. Here are some other examples. The action may not be completed. For example, I have been teaching when somebody knocked at my door. So I had this process, this duration of a continuous action when somebody knocked at the door and interrupted me. That means I cannot teach anymore. So my process of teaching is over. Here, another one. Who has been eating my chocolate? Um, Somebody has a process. Here we go. Here's a bar of chocolate. Somebody is stealing that chocolate from me, and I don't really know who, but that also means that there is still some chocolate left, and maybe enough for me as well. But this process of stealing and eating, well, haven't written stealing in here, but this process of eating is there. Continuous aspect with stative verbs. You probably have heard of the verbs that are stative. That means that stative verbs describe an action that is permanent, that continues for a very, very, very long time. That, in this case, means that the stative verbs are rarely used with a continuous aspect. If you remember, continuous aspect describes something not permanent, something limited. Let's take a look at the examples. Did you understand the expression? You cannot say understanding because it just wouldn't make sense. You either understand something or you don't understand something. You cannot be understanding. I love my family. You either love your family or you hate your family, right? But there is no process of loving. Many people believe in God. You either believe in it, so you have an action, or you don't believe in that. You don't have an action, but you cannot have somewhere in between. I'm believing in God from 6 to 8 p.m. and after that I don't. So it doesn't make sense. Or at least it doesn't make sense in English. Maybe in other languages it does. This house costs too much, so the price is fixed, maybe 500,000 euros, which is supposed to be very cheap in the area where I live. So this is the price. That's it. There is nothing in the middle. Here are some other stative verbs that are not used in the continuous aspect. Here I said, here are some other stative verbs that are rarely used in continuous aspect, meaning almost never. You probably know the McDonald's advertisement, I'm loving it. Which means that in this particular moment when you're eating your burger, you're enjoying it so much, you're loving it. But other than that, you either love or not. Other words are agree, believe, belong, depend, hate, hear, know, like, love, prefer, see, understand, want. It's always practical to memorize those things, so you don't need to think too much about it when doing something in English. Let's move on. Difference in meaning, right. Such words like live, work, and play usually describe something permanent because you either live somewhere or you don't. You either work somewhere or not. You either play or not. But let's take a look at those examples in here. What is the difference in meaning? I see that I have a spelling mistake. Here, I work in mines, but I have been working in Oldenburg for the last years. So here we go. I work in mines. This is a permanent situation. This is what is going on here right now. But I have been working in Oldenburg would mean that in the last years, I had that impermanent situation that was limited. We don't know if this situation is over by now. This is not what the sentence tells us, but we just know that this not permanent situation is not happening anymore. He is living in Germany now. Usually you would say, I live in Germany, or I live in Frankfurt, I live in Wiesbaden, I live somewhere, but not is living. But here you would understand that this is untypical situation. She or he probably lives somewhere else, and this at this moment he is staying in Germany. Maybe he has limited contract, whatever. The team was playing really well, so I'm surprised they lost. So we're talking about some limited time when the game took place and the people were playing. Continuous aspect for short actions. Usually we don't use continuous aspect for short actions. Let's take a look at the examples. the car hit another car when parking. It just happens immediately. 1 second, the car was good and everything was fine, and the driver was parking, but then he hit another car. It happened instantly, so we don't need a continuous aspect in this case. She fired a gun. She shot a gun. So it just happened. It's too short of an action to be continuous. I have spent a lot of money on groceries. The money is gone. You know how it happens. It happens super fast. 1 second and it's gone. So you cannot say, I have been spending. Well, actually, you can, but then the meaning is different. I hope my explanation did not confuse you completely, and I'm glad I will be actually very happy to hear your feedback and post me some questions if you have any.